You know,
take care.
I always get nervous when it gets like super quiet while we wait for the show to start because I'm always afraid that my internet dropped and you're just like sitting there talking and I'm going.
Even if it did, well, I mean, I guess it could be happening, but I have it on like a non-shared screen. It's just a like live programming starting soon type thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Friday, November 9th. We got it. We made it through the week. I made it through yesterday barely, thanks to the Suns just putting a thumping on the Celtics for the first half and changing that entire game script. But what are you gonna do? Adam, how did your Thursday shake out?
Not too good, but I went out with some friends, so I wasn't paying attention to it, and it probably saved me a lot of being pissed off.
Yeah, I have a feeling it might save you some, or might not save you some time though today.
Yeah, it's not going to help matters today for sure.
There we go. 2, 4, 7 game slate today, which is just lovely after yesterday's little 4-gamer. Late night hammer is definitely interesting. There's a lot of slog in the middle. It's not really that appealing of a slate, but we've got some weird news to talk about, i.e. whether or not Kyrie is playing, which it seems like he's not. It's a game at Utah, so it's not as if Boston was terribly viable heading into it. Maybe those extra minutes will open stuff up, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like a weird one. I agree with you about the slog in the middle. Like, it's some pretty unappealing games.
Yeah, Heat, Pacers, Jazz, Heat Pacers is a fine basketball game. Jazz Celtics is a great basketball game. Not as great without Kyrie, but they're not super appealing fantasy games. So price is going to be very
Yeah,
important.
it kind of feels like 2015 NBA today.
It really does. Let's start it off with just a barn burner. The Orlando Magic hosting the Washington Wizards. But first, promo code NBA Strategy, 7-day free trial. Use that code. You could use it on any package that we have, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. It gets you 7 free days, access to projections, ownership projections, Alex's Osmos rankings, everything we have. So check that out if you want to, and like and subscribe because it helps. Yesterday's video got an overwhelming amount of likes. It was north of 300 last I saw. So thank you everybody for that. Now, Magic and Wiz. 107.5 implied total for the Magic, 110 for the Wizards. God, the Magic's offense is so bad. 29th in effective field goal percentage. We'll start with Vooch. Or I guess we could start with really anybody on Orlando. Does anybody really stand out to you outside of Aaron Gordon, whose price is now climbing?
Well, I mean, if there's one thing that can make Orlando's offense better, it is definitely this Washington defense because they are so damn bad. So, yeah, I mean, I think Vooch's price is dropping a little bit. He's down to 8,100. The concern would be that you're seeing Mo Bamba still, kind of be annoying as far as not letting Vucevic get to 34 or 35 minutes like we would like. You're probably looking at closer to, 31, 32 for Vucevic, which isn't great, but I do really like the matchup there. Aaron Gordon at 7,500, though, I think this is the kind of spot where Gordon should just smash. Like, it's not a good rebounding team in Washington. Granted, they should get better the more time that they have Dwight Howard on the floor, but overall, still not a good rebounding team. They play up in pace. They don't play defense. I think it's a game where Aaron Gordon has like multiple ways of getting there. So he's the one that really, really stands out to me, along with 4,500 DJ Augustine. I think is just too cheap for a guy who's going to play 30 minutes against the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That $4,500 price point for him on DraftKings looks nice. And I like Gordon even on FanDuel. Power forward is not great today. Gordon's the second most expensive, only Blake Griffin ahead of him, and that's $1,900 further north. So playing Aaron Gordon at a sub 8K price, I mean, your other alternatives are, Thad Young and Taj Gibson and the whatever is left of Dario Saric. So it kind of makes Gordon a little bit more appealing. I got 16% of him on my first crunch. Do you want to go to like Fournier or Ross or anything? I don't see a ton to just like immediately for Orlando.
They seem pretty appropriately priced. If they end up in my lineup, then cool. But I'm not gonna be upset that I'm getting Magic guys against Washington, but
right.
They're not the ones that really stand out. Ross's price just has gotten to a point where it feels like it's pretty fair. Like, he probably doesn't hurt you at that price, but it would take certainly an outlier game for him to really beat it. And then, Fournier is priced up enough where there's probably better options.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. The Magic seem appropriately priced.
Yeah, like Gordon and Vooch are the ones that have like legitimate ceilings. Fournier and Ross are just super price dependent for me.
It's going to be one of those days where ownership doesn't paste in well for me. 1 second. Because we have ownership out. Just in case you're curious, people, we have our ownership projections for FanDuel and DraftKings out. So I'm adding those in now so I can take a look and see where we're at. We've got Aaron Gordon matching my exposure right now on FanDuel. Let's see where we have him on DK. Should be high. Not high. That's really appealing to those playing on DraftKings.
Yeah, definitely should be high.
10.
Yeah, especially because he's been popular lately too.
10%. I would want to have more than that, probably.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty low one.
Alrighty, that's enough about Orlando. Let's go to Washington, a team that I have been rostering pretty regularly and being mad about every morning because they just are a shameful group of people. Everyone in the area, all Wizards fans are shameful. It's just bad across the board.
They can't stay this bad, can they? Like they actually have talent on this team.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. I really don't. I don't know how to fix this team.
Right. Like Dwight Howard coming back should never be the fix for what's going on. It's just the starters are talented. The bench actually is better than last year. I mean, you can say what you want about Rivers and Green, but it's a step up from what they had. It just I think it just has to do with them hating each other and just not caring.
In a perfect world, what's the fix? Trading Wall?
Yeah, if you could get rid of, we were talking about that last night at the bar. Like Beal, it sucks because Beal is the one that has like trade appeal, but you want to get rid of Wall.
Does John Wall have less trade appeal than Blake Griffin did last year?
So I don't know specifically, but someone, and I didn't double check this, but someone was saying that part of the language in his contract is basically that if the Wizards trade him, they have to give him like a pile of money up front. So that would probably make it less appealing for the Wizards to actually move him.
You must have a trade kicker. Okay, that's good to know. There's got to be a team where that fits, but something needs to be done. I always wanted to see them do that, like Otto Porter for Boogie type deal, but
yes, I wanted them
now.
I wanted them to just not re-sign Porter. But
yeah, like I don't know where you reappropriate Wall to where it makes sense, and I mean, like, you know, it'll always look right in Phoenix. Phoenix desperately needs a point guard, but there's none of that is going to happen.
Right. The Wizards are at the point where in your 2K franchise you start over and pick a new team.
Well, no, you just trade Wall.
Yeah.
For whatever.
Right. Yeah, easier to do there, I guess.
I wish I was still playing 2K. It makes me sad. I love the game. It just takes too long.
Yeah.
FIFA for life. Wizards. Do you want any Ball? Do you want any Beal? Wait, I think I said Ball and Wheel. Do you want any Wall? Do you want any Beal?
I do like playing these Wizards guys because they're just getting so many minutes. Wall's price is up to 9,100 on DraftKings. That's normally kind of the sticking point for me with John Wall, is I hate going above 9K for him. But 7,800 on Beal, I think, still too cheap. Dwight Howard, I think, is still too cheap. Everyone except John Wall on DraftKings is too cheap out of the starting group because, I mean, this is a team that they're already just kind of in desperation mode, and they're all playing huge minutes. I mean, they lost to Dallas by 20 points, and if you go back and look, you still got 37 minutes from Beal, 38 minutes from Porter, 41 minutes from Wall, 33 minutes from Howard. Morris was in foul trouble all night, specifically in the second half. But yeah, I mean, they're just running these guys into the ground. So as bad as they are in real life, it makes them really viable in DFS.
Yeah, Otto Porter's price in particular, 6,600 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DK. Hell of a gap.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that I trust the least just because his backup is legitimately good in Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
but you're not taking on a lot of risk at that price when you know that the upside is that he goes out there and plays 38 minutes.
I got 15% wall on my first FanDuel crunch, and I've been getting him a lot, and I don't really know what to do about that.
Knock down his assist percentage.
Probably.
That's what that he was popping in a lot of my stuff early in the season, and then I started cutting that back, and I don't get as much.
Good to know. Other than that, you can make a really good case for Markieff Morris at 4,900 on FanDuel. I think you can make a case for Kelly Oubre at 4,500 on FanDuel. But this is a game that I have a hard time wanting to attack with any sort of volume.
How much is Howard on FanDuel?
69.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think I still think that's too cheap. I mean, 69 there, 6K on DraftKings. We had talked about it in the last couple of games that he lost minutes in his first game because of a blowout. He lost minutes in his second game because of foul trouble. We got 32.9 minutes against the Mavs, and he did come out a minute and a half early. I don't see any reason why Howard doesn't in a competitive game play 34 minutes, and at worst he's a point per minute guy, and he's been much more than that every season of his career. So I expect him to actually get back to like 1.15. So I just think he's too cheap.
I'm trying to see what's around him, at least on FanDuel. Yeah, he's projected for 11% ownership, which is the second, or tied for the second most with Embiid, Horford, Jared Allen, Willie Cauley-Stein. He's not I'm not getting him, and I don't really know why, but I do have him projected for, it's probably minutes. I have him in for only 26. I'm just nervous about him trying to play 30, but maybe that's my own personal hang-up.
Yeah. I mean, he played 33 last game.
Did he really?
Yeah. And he left with a minute 16 left because it was a 20-point game.
Dwight Howard minutes. I don't know why I have it in for 26. I changed everything else. My own fault. I'll probably get some Dwight now.
Yeah. I don't think you're in the minority, though. Like, looking at some other sites, they don't have him at 26, but they have him lower than he's they have the entire Wizards team lower than they're actually going to play, which I always like to see that, just because it creates a little bit of an edge. Like, even if they end up being popular, they're probably not as popular as they would be if people were confident projecting them to play 38 minutes like they probably will.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit more Dwight now that I bumped that up. I bumped it to 30. It looks like I just was starting the Wizards minutes and then stopped after I did Austin Rivers and didn't continue any further, because Dwight was just in my old 26 baseline from last week. So that'll do it. Alrighty. Any revenge narrative for Dwight here?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. He is the kind of guy that I kind of buy into needing incentive to want to play basketball. But I mean, I obviously love him at his price anyway. The fact he's playing Orlando doesn't hurt.
Okay. What is going on here? There we go. We're fixed. Yeah, I'll have some Dwight. I'm fine with it. Nothing to really worry about on Orlando. Certainly not Vooch. And I don't, Mo Bamba's 5 years away from me really caring about him. Philly and Charlotte. Me versus Laffy, I guess. In a way. Philly, 115.25 implied total. Hornets, 109.75. So 5.25 point favorites. We'll start with Embiid. $11,000 on FanDuel. 11.2 on DraftKings. That's a tough sell. But on FanDuel, that looks pretty good on a day where there's not any really crazy pay up options. Embiid is the most expensive player on the FanDuel slate. Would you want to pay up to 11K for him today against Charlotte?
I wouldn't be forcing it in, but I wouldn't be, knocking him down if I get him. Obviously, he's got a monster ceiling. I just get really nervous with him at that price tag, just because he's as good as he is. I prefer paying that price for ball handlers and I don't know, Anthony Davis. I don't know. It seems expensive, but without other stars on the slate, I guess it's okay. I doubt that I would end up getting a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a real tough time doing 11-2 for him on DK. He's $1,200 or yeah, $1,200 more expensive than Blake Griffin and one of two guys over or in the 10Ks. It's a tough fit.
I would be surprised if he scores twice as many points as Dwight Howard.
So would I. I got 6% Embiid on my first crunch. I think that's happy. Or I'm happy with that number. Like, there are scenarios where Embiid has crazy ceiling game here. I mean,
for sure.
The Cody Zeller isn't the answer. I think the only saving grace for Charlotte here is that I don't think Embiid hates anybody on the Hornets.
Yeah, I did see, and I don't think it really affects him, but the Hornets did say that they're going to play all three of their centers in an effort to slow him down, and I guess just mix in fresh guys. So Biyombo, Hernangomez, Zeller. I don't think any of them are particularly scary, but it's, I guess, worth mentioning that they probably will at least have fresh guys out there pretty consistently.
You would think Embiid would want Biyombo out there. Not having to do all that much defensively then would make it a little bit easier, and I'm sure he's still not worried about it offensively.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, Hernangomez would be the one that I think is just the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they wouldn't just, unless it's to have fresh bodies, just replace Hernangomez tonight with Biyombo.
Any time that Embiid is on the floor.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I would agree. Old Willie's not going to be in a good spot there. Ben Simmons, 9,700 on FanDuel, 9,800 on DK. I got a lot on this first run. One of my higher exposed point guards of the day on FanDuel. I don't know what to think. Like, on the surface, it feels like a bad matchup, but it's not like Charlotte's defense is anything to write home about. I worry about the turnovers a little bit on FanDuel, but otherwise, what are your thoughts on Simmons?
I don't love it. It's kind of the same as Embiid. Like, if I end up getting a lot of him, then whatever. Like, he's obviously really good. He's a good bet to triple double anytime he plays. But I don't know, 9,800 just, I hate paying that price for Simmons because he just doesn't offer that kind of upside. I don't think. Like, he can go out there and get you 50 points. So I like it when he's 8,500, 9K. But once he starts pushing 10K, I start getting really, really hesitant to roster him. And it's not a spot that I'm super excited about against Charlotte. Like, they do have enough long defenders that they should be competent at least.
Yeah, I'm nervous about this one. Ben Simmons' box score lines are all over the map. 8 assists, 3 assists, 5 assists, 11 assists, 12 shots, 4 shots, 9 shots, 20 shots. 20 shots against Charlotte in 32 minutes on October 27th, and he only had 31.9 fantasy points. He went 5 of 20 from the field.
Wow.
That's why Ben Simmons go 5 of 20.
Right. Was he like chucking threes or something?
He has not shot a 3 all year. But yeah, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. But I mean, he should go 10 for 20 based on his shot profile.
Right.
I wonder why he got 20 shots. What do the Hornets do defensively? Does he play into them perfectly, perhaps?
I mean, maybe they sold out on Embiid or something. Like, keeping the ball out of Embiid's hands.
Take a look. On offense, nope. On defense, they are giving up. They're 27th in the league in shot frequency at the rim, which is bad. Giving up a ton of threes, nothing in the mid-range. So he must have just been taking difficult shots in the mid-range, if I had to guess. I'm sure. I mean, Ben Simmons' shot percentage at the rim has to be through the roof.
Yeah.
There's only so many options for him. Takes 67% of his shots this season at the rim. It's 100th percentile for forwards. So yeah, I mean, he's probably gonna get to the rim at will, and I'm gonna hope that he continues to try to do that and shoots a little bit better than 5 of 20. I'll have some Ben Simmons, I guess, is the moral of this story.
Yeah.
And again, FanDuel and DK, very different here. 9,700 on FanDuel, 9,800 on DK.
Yeah, much more appealing on FanDuel.
Yeah. You want Bobby Covington or the corpse of Dario Saric, Redick, Fultz?
I like the price tags on Covington and Saric.
Yeah.
Saric was better last game,
Yep.
kind of came through. But yeah, I mean, all the things we talked about before, Saric just should start having more shots go in than he has so far this year. So I think that I'll probably keep, trying to roster him as long as he's cheap because I expect him to end up being better than he has been.
Yeah, 5,400 for Covington on DK is really nice. I don't have any interest in him for 6,600 on FanDuel.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah, Saric for 5,200 on FanDuel. Again, on a day where power forward is a bit of a wasteland, I'm going to have some shares.
Yeah, I mean, we got 36 minutes from Saric against Indiana as well, so it's not like Brett Brown is cutting into his minutes or anything. We just
No.
need him to actually make shots.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Brett Brown to be the type of guy to overreact to a negative shooting sample at this point.
Yeah.
Hornets, $8,600 for Kemba Walker on FanDuel, $9,400 on DK. If you like him on DraftKings, I can only imagine how much someone would like him on FanDuel. 8,600 for Kemba is a very appealing price point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he just keeps being this entire offense. We saw him struggle for a couple of games, but that obviously wasn't something we expected to last. He bounced back, had a better game last time out. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to get 34 to 36 minutes of Kemba. You're going to get a guy that has a ton of usage, up over 30%, gets, enough assists, should, probably get 5 or 6 assists. So, yeah, on FanDuel especially, love Kemba.
Let's talk about his game at Philly in the end of October. Played 35 minutes, went for 60 fantasy points. 11 of 31 from the field. 3 for 15 from 3. Dude, he could have had 80.
Wow. That's pretty insane.
3 for 15. He got up 15 threes. He's shot. Here are his 3-point attempts so far. 10, 9, 8, 8, 15, 10, 9, 7, 15, 10. I don't know when the real season starts. 13. Fantasy Cruncher, take out the damn preseason shit so I can figure out when the season starts.
The 16th was the first day of the regular season.
Okay, so yeah, he's shot no less than 7 threes in every game. Dude is bombing.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit. 15. I don't know what to do with 15 threes, but yeah, if he's gonna be hoisting with that sort of volume, and you're not playing at least some Kemba Walker on FanDuel, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the minutes are there. Everything's there that you could possibly want.
Yeah.
So why not?
Game should be competitive. I wouldn't expect Philly to just immediately blow them out. There's another guy that I'm getting a lot here. I hate it.
JJ Redick?
No, Nick Batum.
Oh, God.
So everybody on Charlotte is priced better on FanDuel. Kemba, $8,600 and $9,400. Batum, $300 cheaper. Lamb, $100 cheaper. Cody Zeller, only $300 more. Tony Parker, $300 cheaper. MKG, $200 cheaper. Just naming everybody. Do you have any interest in Nick Batum here? Caveat, $6K on FanDuel.
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
the price, it's purely a price play. And I think me and Lofty have all talked about it this year where Nick Batum at some point will probably pick up one of his, 10, 10, 10 triple doubles and he'll be too cheap for it. But he's just not being aggressive enough offensively. He's not, if you look at his rates this season, he doesn't even like project to someone that should be doing better than he is. He's kind of just out there playing, his minutes and not being super involved offensively in terms of expected assists, in terms of usage, in terms of anything. So and he keeps being somewhat popular because of the price tag. So for me, he's someone that I just kind of keep not rostering, and I accept that when he finally has that big game, I'll just not have a good day.
Lowest price of the season on FanDuel previously was $6,300. He's been in like the 66, 67 range. I think I'm going to have some here just because he's probably too cheap. I won't be happy about it.
Yeah.
We're projecting him to be chalky. The chalkiest small forward on FanDuel as of right now, which is another reason why maybe I'll just cap him at the field.
Right. Yeah, I think he's the kind of guy that it makes a big difference for me how you're approaching tournaments. Like if you're running 150 lineups in something, then by all means, like don't just not play Nick Batum.
Right.
But if you're, building 5 or 10 lineups in something, and I think that's a pretty easy stand to take. Just okay, I'll let 20%, 25% of the field play Nick Batum and hope that Nick Batum does what he's been doing all season long.
Yeah. If I were playing one lineup, I would have a difficult time feeling confident about Nick Batum.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because he keeps being popular. It would be one thing if people were like, "Oh, Nick Batum sucks." Like, no, I'm not going to play him. But every projection model that anyone uses is, I think, probably spitting out Nick Batum at 6K.
Yeah. And they probably should be. Like, I think it's right. It's all about what the next step is in your process.
Yeah, it comes down to a range of outcomes because medium projection, sure, he's a good play, but when you look at range of outcomes and you look at ownership, that's where you start to shy away from him, I think, because he just hasn't been super involved in any capacity. So the likelihood of him being one of the highest scorers at his position at high ownership is just low enough where that's the kind of play that I normally try and go somewhere else.
Agreed. Anybody in this game, ignoring Kemba, do you have anybody that we haven't talked about that you would really want to be focused on?
I don't think so. The news about the center rotation, I think, does have a little bit of an impact on how we project Charlotte, because maybe it takes a couple of minutes away from Zeller. But if they are going to use all three centers, that means that I'm not projecting any minutes at the 5 for Marvin Williams, which we had been seeing him get a few minutes a game at the 5. And we saw that against Atlanta as well. So that makes me not like him. He's coming off of a big game. I don't know if maybe he'll carry some ownership because of that, but I have trouble projecting him for quite as many minutes because I don't think he gets any minutes at center.
An interesting point to think about here.
For what
Marvin
it's
Williams
worth,
getting 5 minutes at the 5 is important for projecting Marvin Williams.
for what it's worth, against Atlanta, just quickly looking at Popcorn Machine, it looks like he played 4 minutes and 53 seconds at the 5, which normally I project him for 4 or 5 minutes there.
Okay.
And normally I project him for 26 or 27 minutes. So I don't know if maybe he doesn't lose minutes. Like maybe he just plays more at the 4 and you see less, Michael Kidd Gilchrist or something. But it would be less productive minutes anyway. And I think that the most likely outcome is probably that you just get like 23 or 24 minutes from Marvin Williams today instead of 26 or 27.
Moving on. Hawks hosting the Pistons. 109.75 implied total for the Hawks. 114.25 for the Pistons. I don't want to like this game, but I'm going to have a lot of exposure to it because, the Hawks defense isn't very good, first and foremost. And there's some things to like on Detroit. We'll start on the Hawks side. Trae Young, 7,400 on FanDuel, 7,300 on DK. I've been getting a lot of Trae Young lately. I'm not upset about it. We've got him at 15% expected ownership on FanDuel. I've got about double that right now. Pistons not exactly known for their backcourt defense. So I'm interested in some Trae Young here.
Yeah, his price tag starting to drop on DraftKings again too. We saw at the beginning of the year that he was really underpriced, and then it kind of shot up when he kept being cash game chalk. But now he's back to 7,300, heading down. That's the kind of that's the time that I like rostering guys like Young because he's inconsistent. We expected that coming into the season, but monster upside. So whenever I can get him with his price on the way down is when I like going there.
Speaking of prices that are down, Bazemore and Prince both significantly cheaper on DraftKings. Bazemore 6,800 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DraftKings. Prince 66 and 56. Do you like Bazemore and Prince here?
I like Prince. I assume he'll be back in the starting lineup, but even if he isn't, he played 31 minutes against the Knicks. He wasn't any good, but I mean, he comes into the game with, I think he just fell behind Trae Young in usage, so second on the team with around a 26% usage rate. The price tag, I mean, he's been inconsistent, no question, but we know that he has upside, and the price tag just is absolutely to his basement at 5,600. So, yeah, I expect that Prince will be one of my higher owned guys because it's not a matchup that you're concerned about either.
No, not at all. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of Prince. I'd have a lot of bit of Prince if I were playing on DK. 6,600 on FanDuel, I think, is still okay for this particular game, but not a guy that I'd have a ton of volume to. I'll have a little bit of Bembry. I won't love that. I should probably do something about that, but mostly it's just Trae Young. They're starting to price up all of the trash. So like Spellman's 42 now. Kevin Herter's 39. Like, I like those guys when they're at flat min or $100 more, but you're not getting as much value out of Amari Spellman if he's 4,200.
Yeah, and with Atlanta fully healthy too, it just gets tough because they have so many pieces, they can run such a flat rotation. Like, it's important to keep in mind that in that game against New York, yeah, Taurean Prince was back, but Kevin Huerter was out, so you still had the minutes there to, play Bembry for 33 minutes, to play Spellman for 28 and a half minutes. Once with Huerter back, that's, another chunk of minutes that are just going to him, and it's flattening everyone else as they're being priced up.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the Pistons side. Drummond 10-2 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DK. He's the guy that I got the most of at center today. Don't really see a reason why I would want to change that up. Do you have any Drummond interest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, just he's a monster, and it's obviously a perfectly good matchup here against Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, we have him projected on FanDuel for 9%, and he slammed into my 65% ownership cap on my first crunch, so I'll do a little bit of adjusting. I'll probably knock that down to like somewhere in the 30s, but I can't imagine not wanting to have a ton of him here. He's, to me, pretty clearly the best center option on the slate. I would never be worried about Alex Len, that's for sure.
Yeah, right there with you.
Blake, 9,800 on FanDuel, 10K on DK. Second most expensive guy on DraftKings. Also slamming into my ownership cap on FanDuel, 65%. And again, FanDuel is interesting in that Blake's the most expensive power forward. There's no one else near him. I don't love him at a $9,800 price point. It makes me nervous. I don't know how to manage Blake. I have some sort of weird mental block in my head for him and what his upside can be. What do you think about him here? I mean, 10K on DK seems real difficult to do.
I have the same mental block too, just because for so long it was like he wasn't a super high ceiling guy, but I think he really is this year. He's just so involved in this offense. We've talked about it before, but not only does he have a 30% usage rate, he has the ball in his hands constantly. He has a 28.3% expected assist percentage this year. For comparison, Reggie Jackson's at 17.7. Ish Smith is at 19.3. So he's just blowing the point guards out of the water in terms of expected assists. He's at 23.2% actual assist percentage. So he's actually been running bad in that department. And I would expect him to actually start picking up more assists. He plays huge minutes. He obviously rebounds as well. He's just playing like completely differently this year than we've seen him play for stretches in the past. So I do think that even though there's some sticker shock on his price tag, that he actually is a really good play. Where I run into an issue is that when he's priced more than Andre Drummond, I have trouble getting him because Andre Drummond is just an absolute beast in his own right. Yeah. So it's tough. And I don't really like playing two, 10K guys from the same team unless I'm game stacking, just because it's hard for them both to hit, a true ceiling. So that's why I end up not getting that much Blake. But in a vacuum, I think that the price is actually perfectly fine for him.
Okay. You would not, and I agree with what you're saying. I just want to reiterate it for everybody else. You wouldn't have a ton of Drummond plus Griffin lines. We'll say FanDuel, for instance, since it's a little bit easier to do it, unless you were probably bringing back other parts of the Atlanta team too.
Yeah, exactly. And the reasoning is just that, sure, you can get them both to go for 50 and it's not really that difficult. But when you're rostering guys at that price point, I'd really like them to go for, 60, 65 to win a tournament. And Blake and Drummond both going for 60 or 65 is really unlikely unless you get, like overtime or some just absurd 140 to 130 game or something, in which case I want both of them and I want as many other pieces of the game as I can get.
Perfect. Anything else from the Pistons? I like Reggie Jackson a little bit at 5,800. Ish Smith for 44 on DK looks pretty appealing. Reggie Bullock for 4,200 I think looks pretty appealing. I just like a lot of the Pistons today. What about you?
Yeah, this is the kind of spot where I love grabbing those fringe guys like that aren't really that appealing to play, but guys like Bullock and Glenn Robinson and whoever, they're cheap. Like Bullock's 3,900 on DraftKings. Robinson's 3,700. Atlanta's playing at either the fastest pace or one of the fastest paces in the league this year. That's really, really valuable for those, fringe pieces because you don't expect them to be that efficient. That's why they're not great NBA players. But the extra possessions really, really go a long way when you're talking about guys that are near minimum priced and playing, 30 ish minutes. So yeah, I think that filling in with these guys as value makes a lot of sense.
Especially against Atlanta. Just a hapless defensive team.
Yep.
Anybody could work out here. Okay, cool. Anything else from this game?
I don't think so.
Moving on. Miami Heat hosting the Indiana Pacers. Heat 107.75 implied total. Pacers 106.75. Heat 1 point favorites at home. I'm assuming everybody is in that could be in. So assuming Dragic plays, I'm assuming we have no news any direction. Would I be right on that assumption for right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with too.
Okay, cool. I got 4% of Dwayne Wade and no other people from the Heat on my first crunch. I guess
Wade,
you can take a look at Rodney Magruder at 4,900 compared to the 6K price point he has on DK. Otherwise,
I see Wade listed as doubtful.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, him being out will help other people. I don't really have any interest in the Heat here.
Yeah, no. I thought you said you got some Wade. That's why.
I got. I mean, 4%. Like so, just essentially randomness at shooting guard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if Wade's out, I think get maybe a few more minutes of Tyler Johnson, but they're not the most productive minutes. I don't think, because he's still gonna have other scorers on the floor. Like I like him a lot more when it's Dragic out. So yeah, I think that I think Miami's kind of just priced up to where as long as Goran Dragic plays, the only guy that's interesting to me is Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah, Wade had a baby, right? Is that the reasoning?
I don't know. It says he's listed for personal reasons, so it makes sense.
I think I saw a picture. Yep, Wade having a baby. I thought I saw pictures of that yesterday. All right, let's pull that out of there. Let's bump up Tyler Johnson a little bit. Wayne Ellington's gonna have to play real minutes. That should work. Okay. Bye-bye, Dwayne Wade. Man, Rodney Magruder for 4,900 is kind of worth a peek, but everybody has like the exact same projection relative to their salary on this team. I hate the Heat.
Yeah. It sucks because it's always like you can't play any of them, or they're all just like really good chalk.
I don't have anything to add here for I'm not gonna have anybody with any sort of passion unless we find out somebody else is out.
Yeah, I mean Whiteside's the only guy that I find particularly interesting, and that's just it's not based on projection. It's just because he obviously has such a monster ceiling whenever he plays.
I can't believe he didn't get that triple double.
Yeah, that was insane. I thought for sure he was going to get it.
All right, let me re-crunch here with Wade out. Yeah, I don't have any hot takes for the Heat. Just pretty much avoid them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if Dragic is out, then obviously it's the same story. Like Wayne Ellington should play a ton.
Yeah.
Ren's going to handle the ball a lot. Richardson's going to handle the ball a lot. Johnson is a much better play. But if Dragic is in, it kind of just kills everybody.
Pacers, 9K for Oladipo on both sites. I'm in on FanDuel.
Yeah, I agree.
He's Oladipo. I like it's got a ceiling. What's the Heat turnover rate? Heat 25th in turnover rate offensively. Should fit a potential Victor Oladipo ceiling game, considering he can get like 6 assists or 6 steals in a game. Did it regularly last year. Miles Turner, 5,400 on FanDuel, 4,800 on DK. What is this dude doing?
Not helping me make money, that's for sure.
I'd say he's costing himself money, but he got that paper. He secured the bag. So I'm sure he doesn't give a single shit now.
So yeah, he's, I don't know, probably if I run 150 lineups, I'll probably end up with more Miles Turner than is healthy. But the price tag at 4,800 is just too cheap. And I feel the same way about Darren Collison. Like, he's inconsistent and frustrating, but he's $4,200. His minutes are all over the place, but he has a easy path to 28 or 30 in games where Corey Joseph doesn't play 30 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. I keep ending up with him, and he's always really low owned, which is nice at least.
Sabonis is $1,500 more expensive than Miles Turner on DraftKings. Fascinating. They're going to trade him, aren't they? They're going to trade Turner.
They probably should. Sabonis is good.
Where would you trade Turner? There's a team that needs a stretch 5.
Washington.
fucking so true too. They don't really need anything that would be coming back. I mean, I guess Otto Porter would make some sense for that team.
Yeah, they can have whoever they want.
Turner, where else could Turner go? It's nowhere, I guess. I guess that's why he's 4,800. I don't really have much interest in this game. It's it's a really not great day for like very clear plays. It's either opened up value or everything's kind of just
Yep.
I don't want Thad Young. I'll have a little bit of Tyreek because I don't know how to stop getting him. His per minute numbers are just so high, even though he plays no minutes. I don't know why he plays no minutes, but I figure one of these times it's going to happen.
Yeah, imagine if he had like the Corey Joseph role, like for fan. I understand that Corey Joseph's good for real life purposes, but
Yeah.
for fantasy purposes, if he had that Corey Joseph like 26 to 30 minutes a night, it would just be such a different team.
It'd be very, very different. Man, I like Corey Joseph so much in like a real basketball stance, but boy, oh boy, is he dog shit in DFS.
Yeah. I always look and it's just like, man, he's 3,600 and he can play 30 minutes, and then it's just like, and get me 18 points.
Yeah, it's so weird. 3 games left. We're through 4 games in 40 minutes.
Record pace.
Must be a new show. Denver Nuggets hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Nuggets 110 implied total. Nets 100.5. A 9.5 point favorites for Denver here at home. Nikola Jokic 9,300 on FanDuel, 9,200 on DK. I mean, I like Jokic, but I'd rather just pay more for Andre Drummond.
I think the appeal for Jokic, I mean, on top of, him being really good and the Nets not and everything, I assume Drummond will probably be disproportionately higher owned just because Drummond's coming off that monster game while Jokic is coming off a game where, what did he shoot, like once or something?
We
Um,
have Jokic at 25% on FanDuel and Drummond at 9 right now.
I assume that flips.
I don't know about flips, but I would assume that they like naturally come closer to each other.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Jokic is higher owned than Drummond. Like, people like rostering guys who are coming off big games, and Drummond has plenty of them. He had one in his last game. Jokic is coming off like his worst game of the season. He played 25 minutes. I think he had one field goal attempt.
People also like playing centers against the Brooklyn
Yeah,
Nets.
yeah, that's true. Did Jokic have 0 field goal attempts?
0 for 1 from the field. It was a 3-pointer, oddly enough. How does that happen? How does your center take 1 shot only from 3 in 26 minutes?
Especially when you're Nikola Jokic.
Last 4 games, 1, 3, 9, 5. Those are his shot totals. So that's 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 18 shots in 4 games. He took 20 against the Bulls in the game before that. He's taken less shots in his last 4 games than he did in the 5th game of that set.
I love rostering guys like that in tournaments, though, just because people look at that and it's going to drive his ownership lower than where it should be. Like, not even saying that Jokic is going to be 5% owned or something, but whatever number he should be at based on this matchup and the upside that he has, it's almost certainly going to be lower than that. And just because of game logs and perceived risk. So I think that going to him here is really appealing. And like, you shouldn't be concerned about the 25 minutes. He picked up 3 fouls in the second quarter in 4 minutes, picked up his 4th and 5th to start the third. So I mean, that's why Plumlee played all those minutes. It's not like Mike Malone's going crazy and not playing Jokic or something.
What causes this type of game to happen? How does he become so uninvolved? Oh my God, he really didn't shoot. Jokic didn't even get off a shot until he launched a 3-pointer with 2.4 seconds left in regulation.
Wow, that's why I couldn't find this field goal attempt.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, how do you project a guy like this?
You just project the ceiling and then don't play 100% of him.
How can someone who is very clearly the best player on his team just not exist.
It happens every year too, where he just goes through stretches where like
Yeah.
he just doesn't do anything.
I don't even know how to look at this. To, oh my god, it's insanity. Anyway, I'll have a little bit of Jokic.
I mean, to me, it's just like you're not going to be able to predict the game where Jokic decides that he's going to demand the ball and play offense again. And I would like him in my lineups when that happens. I don't want to, go back and go. We saw Jokic be assertive last game, and he made a bunch of people money. I wasn't one of them. I'm going to roster him today. Like just that he's not going to do this all season long. So just keep rostering.
I completely agree. I'll have some. I hope that his ownership stays at a high number. Like, I hope he's the chalk center on FanDuel. I want to come in underweight of that then.
Yeah, to me, I hope he ends up not being chalk because I would love to take a stand where I get to play Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, if it's 25, I'm not going to have more than 10 or so because I'll have a lot of Andre Drummond.
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree that if there is a big ownership discrepancy between him and Drummond, taking a stand on the lower owned one is almost always the right play.
Yeah, especially when it's like 25-9.
Yeah, my assumption is just that Jokic ends up being the low owned one.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet. Jamal Murray, 7,500 on FanDuel, 7,200 on DK. Not a guy that I have much interest in. I don't have much interest in Gary Harris as well, although 5,900 on DK is a spot where I would definitely be interested. What do you think about those two guys?
I think the price tag on Harris is too cheap, and I kind of think it's too cheap on Murray too, just with the minutes he's playing. We saw 36.8 minutes again against Memphis. The guy's playing 37, 38 minutes a night because he's playing with the second unit as well. Like his normal rotation now, going back, multiple games, is that he plays like 7 minutes, comes off the floor for a couple, checks back in for another, 3 to like 7 or 8 minutes with the second unit, checks out for a couple, and then closes. Like he's just playing monster minutes, and you're not going to get consistent production from him, but he certainly has a ceiling.
Yeah. Who is around him on FanDuel?
Probably Trae Young.
Trae Young, $100 cheaper. De'Aaron Fox, same price. Or you pay up $1,100 to Kemba. I think I would rather all three of those guys before I got to Jamal Murray.
I think I would take Murray over Young just because he's going to play like 6 more minutes.
Maybe. I don't know. Jamal Murray might be a blind spot for me.
Yeah, I also have I just love Jamal Murray.
All right, here's a guy that we need to talk about because I'm not really sure what to do with him. Paul Millsap is 5,600 on FanDuel. He's 5,100, I believe, on DK. I clicked away too fast. Yeah.
Yeah, 51.
Yeah, so I got 55% Paul Millsap on my first crunch. He is the chalk power forward on FanDuel at 34% expected ownership. Is this just simply like he's priced incorrectly, should be a little bit higher? Is that everything that's driving it here, or do you think there's a mistake somewhere?
How many minutes do you have him projected for?
28.
Yeah, I mean that's his ceiling, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Millsap is just the fact, and I had gotten hopeful about it 2 games ago because Trey Lyles played some time. What did we decide? He played at the 4 while Millsap played at the 5, but they didn't play any minutes alongside each other against Memphis. You got 28 minutes from Lyles, 20 from Millsap, and that's the risk that you run. Is his backup is just so good in Trey Lyles that it's hard to confidently project Millsap for a ton of minutes because you're just probably not going to have games where Lyles doesn't play a lot. So I mean that's the issue. Like the price tag certainly has come down to a point where it takes that into account. But if he's going to be popular, I still kind of just hate going there because he most likely outcome, he puts up a perfectly reasonable score, but not one that you need. And then there's obviously the percent of the time where he doesn't.
Yeah, I just knocked his minutes back from 28 to 25. I think I feel a little bit more comfortable with that. It brings some of his ratings down, so I don't think that I'll be getting the same 55% of Paul Millsap as I did previously.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think to me, he's like, I don't know, it's weird. Normally I hate saying that I like guys in cash, but not in tournaments because like it normally doesn't make any sense. Like you don't want to play bad guys in cash either. But like
Right.
Millsap's not bad, and I think he does have a reasonably high floor for his price. It's just in tournaments at probably relatively high ownership and dealing with Trey Miles siphoning his minutes, I just kind of hate doing it.
I can appreciate that stance. I'm not going to have nearly as much now, and I'm not happy about it. One guy that I do want to talk about, though, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, 3,900 on both sites, playing, mid-20s minutes. I feel like he should be rostered quite a bit on FanDuel.
Yeah, on FanDuel specifically, because I don't know, do you have Popcorn Machine for that game up?
I can.
His rotation is just terrifying.
We're talking the
Because
Memphis game?
yeah,
Okay.
because he's just he's yeah, he's completely dependent on how Torrey Craig is playing, and Torrey Craig is a good defender. So there are going to be games where it's not like you're saying, "Oh, well, Torrey Craig just never is good offensively, so getting him off the floor shouldn't be an issue." They like him defensively, and so in that Memphis game, you had Hernan Gomez play a grand total of
3.
three, yeah, 3 minutes and 1 second in the first half, followed by 19 minutes and 18 seconds consecutively to close out the third and fourth quarters. So, yeah, he got to 22 minutes, but if I'm playing on DraftKings or fantasy draft where I can't drop my 0 from Hernan Gomez, I just don't feel super confident in Mike Malone playing him, 22 minutes on a night-to-night basis.
I think that's the perfect take. He is a FanDuel only guy, or like 1 or 2 lineups in 150 on DK.
Right. Because basically what's going on in Denver right now is you have Torrey Craig, Hernan Gomez, Malik Beasley, all sort of playing hot hand, backing each other up and stealing minutes from each other on a game-to-game basis where it's really difficult to predict who's going to get the minutes. And then Monte Morris is kind of his own thing where he's also sometimes playing a bunch of minutes and sometimes not, but those are more at the expense of other guys.
Kush Lumby in chat. Millsap needs to get out of Denver. Why would he want to do that? It's a great spot for Paul Millsap, both financially, team talent. Denver's dope just in general, both literally and figuratively. Yeah, I'm very much on team go play in Denver. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have probably like 15% of Hernan Gomez. If I'm lucky, he plays 25 minutes and it goes well. If I'm unlucky, I drop $3,900 Hernan Gomez at a small forward position that caps out at Josh Richardson today.
Yeah. Is Plumlee a power forward or a center on FanDuel?
Uh,
Guessing center, but if he's a power forward, he'd be interesting.
he's a center.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, $4,100 center.
I do think that basically every slate this year that Denver plays, I've been playing like 5% Plumlee when I max center.
Smart.
Yeah, and certainly would do it again tonight. Like if he's just such a productive guy when he gets minutes, and all that he needs to get minutes is Jokic to, get in foul trouble or something.
Yeah, if he if Jokic gets into foul trouble and Mason Plumlee plays 22 minutes or something like that, I mean, you're probably pretty happy at 4,100. There's a chance that he provides a lot of value.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it on FanDuel because the opportunity cost is too high at center. But on DraftKings, he's power forward eligible.
He's the guy that I'd still be okay with some shares of on FanDuel.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate punting center on FanDuel.
I don't mind it. That's probably not the situation I would want. I don't know. You're probably right. It's probably not worth the cost.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Lots of interesting price points at the top end on DK. Karis LeVert, 7,700 on FanDuel, 7K on DK. Jared Allen's 5,300 on DraftKings. D'Angelo Russell's 56. Spencer Dinwiddie's 46. I didn't get any Brooklyn Nets on FanDuel, so talk to me about any guys that stand out to you on DK.
I don't think it's a spot that I really want to attack either. I mean, Denver is just really good defensively, and Brooklyn is running really flat rotations right now. You just have so many guys that Kenny Atkinson's playing, 25 to 28 minutes. Karis LeVert's the only one that you can really confidently project for more than 30 minutes, and his price tags come up granted he's been playing really, really well, but it is a tough matchup, and I think that he's still priced, pretty fairly. If I had to go to someone, I think LeVert is perfectly fine. I think rolling the dice on like a Rondae Hollis-Jefferson at 4,500 is fine for the upside, but it's not something you should be super confident in because he's still splitting time with Jared Dudley's corpse and DeMarre Carroll's back. And yeah, I mean DeMarre Carroll's back, like that just throws a wrench into this even more. It's just a mess where Kenny Atkinson every season he's like, yeah, I don't want to run 10 guys in my rotation, and then I guess he has no control over his rotation because it always happens.
I hate the damn Nets. I really, really do. I don't like it's 12 dudes that are the same dude.
Yep.
Even the guards that are forwards or the forwards that are guard, like it's just I feel like everybody's just a clone.
I underestimated Kenny Atkinson. With Carroll back, the rotation will have 11 people in it.
Yeah, they don't.
Literally had a quote from him like going into the season at the end of preseason, like, yeah, I need to get it down to 9 or like to 9 guys because running a 10-man rotation or an 11-man rotation it can't happen for success, blah, blah, blah.
Yet here we are.
Yep.
I don't have anything to say about Brooklyn. I don't want any of these guys. Feel free to play some of them on DK because their prices are better, but I don't have a single bit of confidence in recommending any single person on the Nets.
Agreed.
Not going to have a ton to talk about here from like a quality standpoint because this is a terrifying defensive game. Well, maybe not because the Suns just thrashed the Celtics offensively, even though they came back and won. I don't know what to make of this team. Jazz and Celtics, 105.5 implied total for the Jazz, 102.5 for the Celtics. That line's going to move. The Jazz are going to be better than 3-point favorites at home against the Celtics if Kyrie isn't playing. So keep an eye on that. Start on the Jazz side. Donovan Mitchell, 8,800 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DK. How much Donovan Mitchell do you want on DraftKings?
Yeah, 7,100 there's nice. It was weird though. We did the show when he was 7,400 against Dallas, and I thought I would end up with a ton. And across 150 lineups, I think I ended up with like 0. He just hasn't been projecting highly for me this year. I think mostly because he's scoring dependent, but he comes in with like a lower usage rate than some of these other shooting guards like Oladipo and Levine. But on this particular slate with Oladipo at 9K and Levine not on it, I think 7,100 Donovan Mitchell certainly stands out.
Yeah. Not a guy that I want at 8,800 on FanDuel, though. I don't really want anything from the Jazz on FanDuel tonight. Jay Crowder at 5K is probably the only one that's interesting. Spread jumped a whole point already. It's up to 5 now. Good to know. Thanks, Ray, in Slack. Any hot takes for Utah? Derek Favors at... Nope, that's not the right price. Derek Favors at 46 on DK, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the price is really nice. It's just that Favors is basically never playing more than 24 or 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, if you roster Favors, it gets frustrating because he's very productive, but he's just not on the floor enough. And so it's like you see your score shooting up, and then you look, and he's not playing.
Let's talk about Boston. Assumption is no Kyrie Irving today. Going to some sort of memorial service for a grandparent. FanDuel was aware of it, apparently. Terry Rozier, 6,200, but he's 4,900 on DK. I mean, he's going to be hella popular, obviously. Do you want to play Terry Rozier even if he's chalky?
Not really. I mean, it's fine. Terry Rozier's good, no question. It's just that at like 4,900, it's obviously a really nice. It's a perfectly fine price point.
Play him in cash for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just that 4,900 is expensive enough where he actually has to be good to make you wish that you had him in tournaments. And if he is going to be really popular, like there's a lot of ways for him to fail, whether it's just other guys shooting or the Jazz are a good defensive team or whatever. It's not like he's just, it's not like he's going to walk into 35 points here.
No.
So yeah, if he's popular, I'm fine, going elsewhere. That's not to say that it's a bad play. Terry Rozier's good and he's going to play 30 plus minutes here. But it's just the spot where on slates like this, especially, you tend to see, because, as we've kind of talked about, there's not a ton of great plays. You tend to see even more than usual, just everyone play the same guy. And if I can be contrarian by just not playing Terry Rozier against Utah, in tournaments, then that's a stand that I think if you make that play every time this season, you probably make money.
I would agree. Guy I have a lot of interest in. Well, I had a lot of interest in Jason Tatum yesterday, and I think he bageled the first half like an asshole.
Yeah, like literally zero. I thought maybe he'd scratched.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens against the Suns, but whatever. I'll have some Jason Tatum at 6,600 on FanDuel. I'm gonna have a lot of Jaylen Brown at 5K on FanDuel. I don't know what to do with him anymore, but he's popping up a lot for me. And then Marcus Smart, 5,100 on FanDuel, 4,100 on DK. I mean, he clearly looks good on DraftKings.
Yeah, and I think those last two guys are a really good point because obviously we're not super confident in Marcus Smart because he is Marcus Smart. We're not super confident in Jaylen Brown because he hasn't been playing well, but they're both a little bit cheaper than Terry Rozier. And if you tell me that everyone's going to play Rozier, assuming that he gets the huge bump in production without Kyrie, I'll just take Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and hope that they're the ones that do better.
Works for me. Anybody else you want to talk about here? Marcus Morris, 5,100 on FanDuel will be the guy that would be interesting from a price perspective.
Yeah, I mean, assuming Hayward plays though, like, where are the minutes coming from?
That's a good point.
Although I guess a few minutes open up with
Kyrie.
Smart. Yeah. I'm trying to get Boston's rates without Kyrie.
Let me know.
So I mean, it's not perfect if you just take Kyrie off because you're getting a bunch of time with the bench. But Marcus Smart's 14.5% usage. Terry Rozier's at 17%. On a per minute production standpoint, Rozier and Morris Rozier and Smart are almost the same. Jason Tatum without Kyrie's at 22.9% usage. Horford gets this is only a 35-minute sample size this year. But Horford, and I'm trying to remember, I think it goes back to last year that this was the case as well, that Horford actually gets a big boost because he gets more usage, he gets more assist opportunities. So since
everybody's talking about the Hayward revenge narrative in the chat, there's no revenge, man. The Jazz are the ones that are bummed here.
Right. Yeah, Hayward just rolled out. Al Horford without Kyrie since the start of last season, 21.8% usage, 23% assist percentage. Rozier, 22% usage, 20% assist percentage. It's basically everyone gets a little bit of a bump. And that's why I think that in tournaments, if we do project the field to disproportionately go to one guy, most likely Terry Rozier, then just mixing and matching the other guys is probably a good approach.
That is what I will be doing. Wade Force in chat. Are y'all doing live before lock today? We do live before lock every day. That would be yes, just in case. Get me here. Yeah, there's no revenge narrative for Gordon Hayward. The Jazz would have done anything they possibly could have to keep him at any particular number. And he was basically just like, no, I'm going to go play for my college coach in Boston. Fuck off. This is Utah. I'm a white guy. I'm going to go to Boston. It's fine. Let's finish this off. Sacramento Kings, Minnesota Timberwolves. Only at an hour. I love it. Kings 112.75 implied total. Timberwolves 115.75. Wolves 3-point favorites in Sacktown. We'll start with Sacramento. Buddy Hield 7,400 on FanDuel, 6,700 on DK. I really like Buddy Hield here, and I am not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean it's a good spot. We obviously had that really long conversation about him last time where he's shooting insanely well. But this is a spot where I like him. I mean, the minutes, he's still playing huge minutes. It's not a good Minnesota defense. And where against Toronto, I didn't really want to play an overperforming Buddy Hield against that defense. I think it's completely different with Minnesota just because it's a good spot.
Yeah, Minnesota's defense giving up fantasy points 5% higher than average so far this season. Not great. I'm going to have some De'Aaron Fox, 7,500 on FanDuel, 6,900 on DK. I especially like that whether Teague is in or out, I guess doesn't really make much of a difference.
He's already out, I think.
Is that official?
I think I saw it last night.
Surprised they
Yeah,
haven't raised Rose's price then. Weird.
yeah. Him and Bogdanovich both ruled out.
Good to know. Oh, Bogdanovich is out?
Bogdan, yeah.
Interesting. I don't have that in there right now. Let's yank Bogdan's 20 minutes. Boop. Give a little bit more to Frank Mason. And nope.
Bogdan being out also solidifies Hield's minutes. Like, not that you expected him to take minutes from Hield. Hield still played 36 last game, but it's just one less quality player to be concerned about.
What a great sentence here from Chuck Mitchell. Rozier could go 10x on DK. Lock. I love that the first sentence says could.
Yeah.
And then it's a lock.
Yeah. He could also go like 4x.
Yeah. Yeah. Rozier could go 4x on DK. Unlock.
I would say his range is like 4 to 10x.
Yeah. Safe bet. Do you want to go to any of the other guys from the Kings? Willie Cauley-Stein, B. Jelly, my boy Bags.
Have you stopped with that experiment yet?
I get like a couple shares every day, but it's not like I'm 3 times the field or something.
Yeah, I mean, Cauley-Stein, I always like. I don't dislike him against this front court. His price tag somehow dropped on DraftKings to 6,600. So, yeah, I'm going to keep playing Willie Cauley-Stein just because he's averaging like 1.1 fantasy points per minute. He's playing like 34 minutes a night. So that ends up being a good play.
There we go. Let's talk about this ridiculous Timberwolves team. 9,600 for Towns on FanDuel, 8,900 for Towns on DK. Yeah, I'm going to keep playing Karl Anthony Towns. I'm going to keep not being happy about it at lock, but he's too good for his price point, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It makes me not happy.
I mean, I'm glad on this slate you have Drummond and you have Jokic.
Yeah, center's loaded today, I think. There's just a ton of like potential options, so you don't have to go too crazy, but yeah, I'm going to have some Towns. Surprise. Jimmy Butler, 9,500 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK. That's cool with me.
Yeah. I fell asleep watching the Timberwolves Lakers game the other night, and I watched in the first quarter, like I had actually messaged, I think, Lofty just about how disinterested Jimmy Butler looked. But then he ended up having a good game, I guess. So.
Did you see the clips of him playing with his hand in his pants?
No, I didn't.
He got a cut on his hand or something. And then for like multiple possessions, he just put his right hand in his pants and like guarded people on the ball. It's really awkward. Butler, hand in pants. Yeah. Play defense on Brandon Ingram with hand down pants. If you search for it, you can find a couple of videos of him just playing like that. I mean, I guess what he was trying to do is show them that he's not bleeding.
Right.
Maybe just fucking come off the floor.
Right.
I don't think one-arm Jimmy Butler is going to be doing all that well.
Yeah, no, I saw the first quarter where there was a possession. It just looked weird. Like Butler gets the ball at the top and he kind of just like completely nonchalantly just like takes it and like flips it to whoever's next to him. And it was just like his mannerisms. It was just like, yeah, here you go. I don't want this.
Yeah, this clip from Reddit right now. He jams his right hand in his pants and he's just guarding Brandon Ingram and runs straight into a fucking screen. It's fascinating. At first I thought he was just like, oh, you know what? I could play you with one arm. And then he just got leveled by a screen and the play went the other way. Or he just was, desperately trying to crank one. I'm going to play some Jimmy Butler, though. I hope he plays with both hands, though.
Yeah.
Easiest play on the slate today. Derrick Rose is still just $6,000 on FanDuel. He's 6,800 on DK, but I'm going to have some Derrick Rose on FanDuel. I can't imagine not wanting to have him at that price point. We're only projecting 21% ownership. I'm going to have way more than that. Oh, I just cracked my microphone. So sorry if that was loud to everybody. What do you think about Rose today?
Yeah, I mean, I like him. The price tag on DraftKings is to the point where I think that he can fail, but he's still playing so many minutes. It's not like when Teague first was ruled out, my assumption was that Tyus Jones would get most of the point guard minutes and that Rose would play, 32, 33 minutes, mostly off ball. But that's not the case. Like Rose obviously starting at point guard, Tyus Jones just playing backup point guard minutes still makes a huge difference because he's just going out there, chucking up shots, being very, very good offensively, and playing like 37 minutes a night. So I still like Derrick Rose a lot. 6,800, I think, is like a good price for him where, he still projects well. He still has upside. It's just not like a lock that 5,600 was last slate.
Yeah. Jeremy Savage. This guy is finally picking Rose. I've been playing him every time Jeff Teague's been out, except for the first time.
He's probably talking about me.
Oh, no. I mean, well, it might be both of us. I rallied against him. I didn't play him that night that he went crazy.
Okay, yeah. We were on the same page because we didn't know Tyus Jones.
Yeah, I assumed Tyus Jones was going to play 30 minutes at point guard. It's not like I was just fading Derrick Rose because I was like, Derrick Rose blows. Yeah. I didn't expect him to play 36 minutes and be the new starting point guard for the Timberwolves. Wasn't in my range of outcomes at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have a ton of him. We need to touch on Andrew Wiggins because I'm getting a lot of him and I don't have any idea why. He used to be a guy that didn't pop up in my projections. He's still priced the same way that he used to be. And nothing has really changed. I got 45% Andrew Wiggins on my first crunch. Is it just like it might just be because the position blows? There's nobody else out there. But do you like Andrew Wiggins here? Is he even a worthwhile play any longer? He went for 42 fantasy points against the Lakers in 41 minutes in this most recent game.
Yeah, I mean, he plays huge minutes. The Kings play fast. The Kings aren't great defensively. That's the argument. If you don't have Rose and you don't have Towns and you don't have Butler, that's where I end up not getting Wiggins because he's the type of player where he doesn't score a bunch of his baskets off of assists from other people. He doesn't pick up peripherals. He basically is going to have to score a bunch of points normally to give you a good score. And that's the kind of player that I don't like playing his teammates with him. And so I want him by himself, but I also always like Butler, Rose, and Towns more than him. So that's like why I end up not getting to Wiggins.
Yeah, I think it's just a price. I don't know, 6,700 is like even too expensive for Wiggins. Yet I'm getting him. I'll probably bring him down to maybe a little bit over the field. I'm gonna assume that it's telling me to do something for some reason, but
yeah, I mean, I think that he should project as a pretty good play in this spot. It's just that it's hard for him to get there when if any of those other guys get there.
There we go. Do you have anybody else you want to talk about in this game?
If Taj is going to start playing 38 minutes a night again, he's too cheap. Don't know if that's going to happen, but we are talking about Thibodeau and Taj Gibson, so I kind of assumed that at some point this year he would start getting as much run as the rest of the starters. He played 37.4 minutes against the Lakers. If we get 35 to 37 in this spot, it's another one where I think Taj should have a pretty decent game.
For sure. All right, let's go position by position, then get out of here at an hour and 13 minutes only. I'll lead it off at point guard. I do like Ben Simmons. I'm going to have a hard time getting away from him. Give me some Trae Young. Derrick Rose is the crown jewel, I believe. And I think Reggie Jackson is someone that I'm going to probably have, well, as much as the field, I guess.
Yeah, Kemba.
sorry. Yeah, Kemba Walker as well.
Yeah, especially on FanDuel. Sorry, trying to get my stuff pulled up. But I like Kemba. I like Derrick Rose. Jamal Murray at 7,200 is nice. I like De'Aaron Fox. Rozier and Cash, at least. I think that getting creative and going to similarly priced guys at lower ownership, whether it's Celtics or Collison or Augustine or whoever, in tournaments makes sense.
There we go. Shooting guard. I'll have some Butler and Oladipo. I love Buddy Hield more than I ever thought I would say. Marcus Smart looks tasty. A little expensive, but minutes should be there. Similar story for Jaylen Brown. And, I like Reggie Bullock for 4,200.
Yeah, $7,100 Donovan Mitchell's really nice on DraftKings, as is $7,800 Bradley Beal. I'm with you on Hield. I like him. Rozier is shooting guard eligible. That's nice. Jaylen Brown, but yeah, I mean, really, really like Mitchell, Beal, Butler.
Small forward on FanDuel. Apparently, Andrew Wiggins and Nick Batum are two answers for me right now. Not a ton of confidence in this position. I'll have a little bit of Bembry, Juancho Hernan-Gomez. This is just a really bad position tonight. I am not confident in anything that I'm saying about small forward.
Yeah, on DraftKings, it's nice because you can get to guys like Buddy Hield and Aaron Gordon. I really like Taurean Prince at 5,600. He's probably my favorite out of the guys that are like actually small forward eligible.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean 5,600. I just think there's a ton of upside there. Bielitsa, I don't think we mentioned in that game, but if he's going to get 30 minutes at 5,700, that's a pretty reasonable small forward play as well.
Yeah, I would agree there. Go to power forward now. Lots and lots of Blake Griffin. Love Aaron Gordon. Love Jason Tatum. I'll have a little bit of Paul Millsap, but I'm going to nerf that a bit. I'll have some Dario Saric. That's probably it for me.
Yeah, Blake Griffin, Horford here on DraftKings is nice. You don't have to waste the center spot there. Dario Saric is too cheap. Otto Porter's too cheap. Markieff Morris is too cheap.
Finally at center. I'm going to get to some Embiid probably with the field. Drummond, very clearly my number one center. I'll have some Towns. I'll have some Dwight. Dwight probably my favorite of like the lower priced guys.
Yeah, Drummond, Dwight, Jokic are the ones that really stand out. I like Cauley Stein. Obviously I like Embiid, and I like Towns.
There we go, people. Like and subscribe. We gave you the goods in just an hour and 15 minutes. NBA Strategy is the promo code. Use that for a free 7-day trial if you haven't signed up with us before. Any package you want, including Fantasy Cruncher, check that stuff out. Deep dive from Laffy today should be out in the early afternoon. We'll have the deeper dive with Adam and Laffy coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll have live before lock starting at 6. Eddie Fear and Chris Spags. Adam, anything else?
No, deeper dive with Laffy at 5.
There we go. Good luck, everybody. Let's win some money tonight. Feeling good. Let's take it into the weekend in the best possible way. Best of luck. We're out.